Entrepreneurs and business owners, welcome. Michael Rosmer here. I want to extend an invitation to you right now to join our community. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. But before I talk to you about that, what's really important, in order to be able to have you appreciate and understand what this community is all about, there's a very important lesson that I want to give you. And this lesson is so primal. I'll explain to you why in a minute. But one way or another, whether you decide to join us or not, please enjoy this. It's like one of the most powerful lessons that I can give you. It is my gift to you free. And so let's dive in. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is an absolutely free, gift, lesson, etc. from me to you. And so what I want to talk to you about is the process of going from where you're at right now, okay, to being able to get much more for much less time investment, okay, if that makes sense to you, okay. And the root background of this goes to when I was at my absolute brokest, which is about as broke as you can possibly be, okay. Now, yes, I was in a first world country, so, I was very blessed in that situation. There's some social safety nets. I had friends and I had family that gave me some advantages that I wouldn't have had if I was, say, in Africa. So I thank God for that, all right? But at this point in time, it was so hard for me. Here's how bad it was, okay? I would choose each month what bill to pay. I could only pay one bill. All of my bills, every single one of them was delinquent, okay? Which meant I was just saying, okay, I will pay whatever bill to prevent that thing from getting shut off. Every one of my credit cards had been shut down except for one. That one had so little money left, like they were all overdrawn, right? There's so little money left on that credit card that I went to the store. I tell this story fairly frequently in case you've heard it before. I walked there. It was, not very far, probably 4 or 5 blocks away from where I was living. And I walked, it was the middle of the winter, it was cold, snowy, it was in Canada, and I literally could not, I didn't want to spend the money on gas because that's how broke I was. And as I stood there, I bought, it was $19-ish in groceries. And I remember physically shaking with my credit card, being afraid that that $19 transaction was not going to go through. I ate my roommate's craft dinner because I could not afford to buy my own. I figured, I'll buy him some when I have money. And it was utterly humiliating. I felt so embarrassed. I felt it was awful. By far, one of the worst times of my life, okay? At one point in time, I borrowed money from my girlfriend, which was utterly embarrassing and humiliating. I thank God that she was there, and I was so worried that, I might not be able to pay her back because I wasn't paying these other things back. And it was like my first priority that the moment I got money back was to pay her back. And it was really tough, right? Very challenging. So at that point in time, I had a conversation with a mentor, and we were discussing that you trade what you have for what you don't have, all right? And normally what we have when we're getting started is we have time and we want money, okay? I hate watching these videos and seeing these quotes, etc., where they talk about how, poor people trade their time for money, rich people make money work for them, as though that is something that you need to do when you have nothing. And you can't because you don't have anything, right? And the problem with this model of the world, I remember one of the things this mentor was giving me advice was he saying, you had to focus. And I'm like, you can't focus because I don't have anything that's working. At this point in time, I have to take anything I can get. If somebody is willing to pay me $100 to go over here and do this thing, I have to take that because I'm so desperate. I cannot focus. So a lot of the conventional advice didn't work in that environment. And hopefully you're not in that situation. I pray to God you never get into that situation. And hopefully through going through this training, that's the case. That being said, if any of our programs are going to put you in that situation, please do not sign up for them. Okay, it's not a good idea. Take what we have for free, take the information I'm going to give you in this video, and go and apply it, okay? All right, so here was the problem, okay? This was the paradigm shift that really changed things for me. What happened was we said, okay, you trade your time for money because you have time and you don't have money, right? That's the normal modus. Later, when you have lots of money and you don't have time, you'll trade your money for time is the idea, right? The fallacy is that there are only those two resources. See, the thing is, when you're getting started, or at whatever stage, your time is worth what? Not a heck of a lot, okay? Normally, depending on where you are in the world, maybe your time's worth $15 an hour. I talked to some people in other parts of the world where their time's worth like less than $1 an hour, right? But very, very little. And trading your time for money like that will never, ever get you ahead. I don't care how much you say, how good a saver you are. I don't care how good an investor you are. You need to learn to increase your income. You need to learn to increase the value of your time. And how do you do that? Okay? And that is based on what I call the 6 resources. Okay, so we've already named 2 of them. One is time, one is money. Okay? I'll explain, going back, how I ended up getting out of this situation. But anyway, you go and you trade time for money is the idea. But you'll never get ahead on that. So what you have to do is trade your minimum amount of time and go and work on increasing the value of your time. And for any of you who are watching this and thinking, okay, I'm not broke, I'm doing pretty well, the principle that I'm going to teach you applies no matter what level you're at, all right? So the question is, how do we increase the value of our time? For example, maybe right now, your time is worth $100 an hour, $200 an hour, $400 an hour. To make $1 million a year, your time has basically got to be worth $500 an hour. To make $2 million, it's got to be worth $1,000 an hour. To make, my goal was always $20,000 a day, $7 million a year approximately, right? There's a whole reason for how come that was. But, whatever the number is for you, in order to be able to have more, you need to be able to make your time worth more. Or conversely, if you want to work less time and make the same amount of money, your time has to be worth more, right? So how do you do that? Well, there's a couple things that will increase the value of your time. And this is where we come into the other resources, all right? So the first of those other resources is expertise. All right, and that's how come we have the greatest business course ever, is to help you increase your expertise. There you learn the 6 skills that are specifically designed to make more money. They're highly, highly valuable skills that are going to last you for life. They're designed to be fundamental so they don't expire. It is, the best investment of time that you can do with respect to making money, okay? So that's the first thing, is increase. And you see this, people, what do? They go to school to become some specialized, an engineer. All of a sudden, what does an engineer get paid compared to somebody who has no skills? Probably 3, 4, sometimes as they accelerate, as they grow in their domain-specific knowledge. Now your time goes from being worth $50,000 to $80,000 to $100,000, $120,000, $150,000 a year, depending on where you are in the world and what position you're in, right? Or you go and become a doctor, and how much can you make? I have a friend who makes about $800,000 a year as a specialized surgeon, right? Now, what do you have to do? He traded his time for expertise, right? Rather than trading his time for money, like, yes, you have to get by, but you trade your time for expertise, and that expertise increases the value of your time, okay? The next thing you can do is you can get relationships, all right? I've made $10,000 in a day. In fact, I've made $25,200 in a day simply because of having relationships, all right? Very, very simple thing to do. All right? Now, you want to, of course, have strategic relationships, ones that are valuable, and relationships you want to know more about those people, etc. But by cultivating relationships, you're able to increase the value of your time. And this is going to become really, really important when I talk to you about joining our community, which I hope you'll do. The next thing is reputation, right? You can learn to increase your reputation. This is really where you take expertise and community, and you leverage those two together, right? You kind of develop celebrity, and people start talking about you, and now all of a sudden it precedes you, and it decreases the friction on buying, and people are coming to you now, and that's really, really valuable. Then of course the last thing is you can get assets, right? So you might spend your time, say, building software or something. I'm involved in an app startup right now, and so a lot of that is just investing in, okay, what should the user interface look like, and working with the team on the database structure and things like this, right? So the point is, and once you've got that app, right, now how much is your time worth? You can get this exponential reward, okay? With respect to how this all works for clients, I pay a lot of attention, because for me, I was in the speaking industry, not as a speaker, but as somebody who hosted, some of the biggest names in the kind of info marketing speaking world back in 2008, 2009. And I really was disillusioned with it. I didn't really like it. The reason being that I saw a lot of people who, they weren't getting results for the people involved. And as much as possible, I really, really, really care about getting results. I feel bad if somebody's working with me and they don't get results. So I try to pay attention to what are the things that we do that give the highest impact. And I noticed two things in particular. And this is where our community, which is called the Action Class, is also the Weekly Connections and Answers, is what it's called, which is the main focus of it, is involved, okay? And this comes down to these two things that we aim to give you. And this is, what I noticed is I can teach you all kinds of things, and if you're willing to take it and run with it, it could be worth fantastic amounts to you. But for the most part, people wouldn't actually do that. The best way that I could help them was when you were already doing something and you're having a bit of a challenge, and I can say, just tweak it this way. And then people take action, and all of a sudden you see these results, and you're like, bang, very small input, big output. All right, that's what I want for you. And so that's how come we have the answers part of the Weekly Connections and Answers. Okay, so Weekly Connections and Answers, what it is, this is, the thing that I'm inviting you to sign up and join, and I really hope you'll take to heart because it's highly, highly valuable if you want to accelerate your growth. Each week, you are able to submit a form. It takes like 2 minutes. It's super simple. It's designed for people who are busy, people who don't have that much time, but who want to get that growth. And you submit a form, and you can ask a question that is specific to your business. So the difference between, say generic training, right, which you can of course go through the greatest business course ever and get phenomenal information at your own pace, improve yourself as an entrepreneur, and I really hope and encourage you to do that. This is, hey, look, I have this problem. In my specific situation, how do you answer it? And we will answer it for you every single week, okay? You can ask once a week. The second side is so that's the expertise piece, right? Increasing the value of your time. And you just think, like, how long would it take me if I was on my own going out there to figure out that answer? And what can one of those answers be worth, right? We often give people a single piece of information that's worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to them over time. Sometimes, we can save you a lot of money in, preventing something that's bad, or we can do something that's really beneficial for you, okay? The flip side is the connections. And this was the other really, really big one. I just observed how very often someone comes and they're struggling with something, and I say, you know what? I can connect you with someone to solve this problem. Sometimes it's funding, right? We have clients where we get them one deal funded, and that one bit of funding pays for their entire membership for the year, sometimes times 2, right? Other people, maybe it's, you have some money and you want to invest it, and again, the same thing. Your return is, one little deal becomes worth everything that you would have spent on the membership for a year or more, sometimes for multiple years, right? And people sign up just to get access to deals because they know that one deal is worth 10 years worth of membership, okay? Now, I'm not saying we're going to necessarily get you funding. It depends on whether you're fund worthy, right? But that's part of where we can help you. So we've got these two pieces. Other examples, we can connect you with amazing designers, the legal experts that we use. People who are amazing I just had a client visiting, and we connected him with a CFO, somebody who could be a CFO for him, somebody who could be a COO for him, some people who could be salespeople and sales managers for him, like literally tens and tens of thousands of dollars worth of value in a very, very short period of time, okay? So that's the idea of Weekly Connections and Answers. Just each week you request, hey, I'm looking for a connection, or I'm looking for an answer. And some weeks you might not have it, okay? But what it does is it allows us to help you in the area that is specific to you and is going to give you a lot of value. And then on top of that, you get to participate in, if other people had questions, you get to hear the answers that they have, okay? So very, very valuable. And it's the highest impact thing that I can do for you. Again, very small input, but big output. So hence how come we've put it together for you. And I really encourage you to join. Now, circling back just to my story, to kind of finish it off, I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger there. So I was, as I mentioned, like at the absolute bottom of the barrel. It was humiliating for me, okay? And I was very fortunate. I had a connection. Now, in this particular case, the connection was my mother. My mother lent me $6,000, and, you know, I remember her coming to me and saying, like, why didn't you come and ask? Because she had to discover this because I was not willing to ask, all right? And it was like, I was embarrassed. I felt so embarrassed, so humiliated. For me, significance is a big thing, and this is like the opposite. I remember going to business luncheons and not eating anything because I couldn't afford food, and just telling people, oh, you know, I've already eaten. And it was humiliating, and it was stressful. My health suffered. It took me probably 2 years to recover in like routine-wise from this process. So she came to me and she lent me $6,000, which allowed me to buy enough time to go. I then went out and I did sales, selling. I basically found somebody else who had a product, and this was again where relationships came in. So I knew somebody who wanted customers, and I knew some people who were valuable, and I sat down with them and I made that connection happen, and that turned into the initial money that we made, and then we did a few more of those, and pretty soon I was in a position where we started to make like some pretty decent money, and I was able to, you know, eventually get out of that debt position. But it was really, really tough. So what I've always learned and remembered from that is just the value of relationships, and the value of, you know, if somebody had been there to be able to tell me, hey, Michael, I know you're stressed right now. I know you're in a tough spot. Here's what you need. It would have gone, you know, a really, really long way, and I didn't have that. So I'm offering it to you right now, our weekly Connections and Answers, our action class program. It is, you know, the question was, okay, how much does it cost? And, you know, I've seen a lot of other programs out there. I had a business coach at one point in time, and, you know, business coaches charge, you know, $1,000 to $15,000 a month in a lot of cases. Very, very expensive, right? Usually, you know, a few $1,000s a month. There are some mastermind programs I've seen that, you know, are fantastic programs, but $25,000 to $60,000+ a year in a lot of cases for these programs. Okay, and you know, people pay it because it's worthwhile. They actually get the value from it, right? That being said, how accessible is that to the average person? It's pretty tough to afford that, right? And so I wanted to make this something that was accessible, and it was also, you know, it has to be costly enough that we can actually afford to provide the value for it, right? We couldn't offer it for free because then we're losing money and we're not able to serve you. So the balance point that we found is $249 a month. $249 a month is, you know, just under $3 a year. And so $249 a month is, you can sign up now, you can cancel anytime. It's very easy. You get access to us, actually getting real customized answers for you and real connections to what you need. It is by far the biggest thing that we're able to offer to our clients. So I want to encourage you to sign up for it right now. It's, like I said, it's what I wish that I had, and that's how come I'm offering it to you. So please, I invite you to join us. I invite you to be with us. I hope regardless you're able to take this concept of the 6 resources, which is really, really important in building up, right? As you go out into life and you want to get ahead, you know, what do you want to focus on? You want to focus on, hey, I'm going to trade, instead of trading my money for time, I'm going to trade instead of trading my time for money, I'm going to trade as much as possible for expertise and for relationships, strategic relationships. And I'm going to leverage those together to build myself a great reputation. And based on that reputation, that's going to get me assets and really significant money at that point in time. You think about, you know, celebrities who can make, I saw the other day, Selena Gomez can make $500,000 for a single Instagram post. Just why? Because of her celebrity, because of her reach, because of that reputation that she's built, right? So, hope that helps. And one way or another, please sign up. Really take advantage of that. It's the best thing that I can offer to you today. And by far, it is what I would really, really recommend. So sign up now, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys inside on the other side.